Hello and welcome to this episode of The Adventures of the Windswift. I'm joined by my usual crew and they find themselves in a rather unusual predicament. So the Dice of Destiny will tell us who's going to give us a recap as to what happened last week. And that would be number 3. That's Jono.
Well, last week we sort of put the pedal to the metal, as it were, and charged in, having decided that we needed to intervene before the conspirators managed to bring their plans closer to fruition. And to date, up until, in fact, moments ago, we were enjoying quite a lot of success in that charge, having managed to apprehend one of the chief conspirators and some of their more senior accomplices, by the seemings of it, uncovered the fact that the oracles are somehow planning to use some sort of mind control power to convert our brethren and the other orders over to the side of the enemy. And if not, then they're prepared to blow everyone up. Fighting through some enemy stronghold underground, we have just finished dispatching the latest obstacle in our path when all strange chaos has overcome me, and I am no longer sure what's going on.
Absolutely. Good summation there, I think, from Con, just enough to give us a tantalizing taste at last week's episode. And if you haven't watched it, go and have a look before you watch this one. It's quite a good romp onto how to fast talk your way into a very bad situation. So, right, John, Con, you are standing... Again, you are standing in the manor house that you grew up in, but it is on fire. And in the one room, the main dining room, you can see huddled in the corner your mother and father as flames burst in through the windows and the door is completely covered as well in fire. The room is incredibly hot. Your lungs, every breath you take in and out, just scorches down the nostrils and mouth. Everything is just very, very dry. There's lots of smoke everywhere. What are you doing?
I will try to reach my family, my parents, if I can, whilst searching for an alternative exit if the door is on fire.
Okay, as you start towards your mother and your father, it's not the room is empty except for the fire and the chairs. Your mother looks up and she says, "Oh God, Con, you're here as well. Oh, I had hoped that you got out. Why are they burning our house down?"
I don't know, Mother, but we must go. We must get out of here now. Hurry.
Your father stands and looks from you to your mother and then at the door. I suppose... Well, just know that I love you both, he says. And then he charges at...
Wait, what are you doing?
He stops for a moment. Well, we have to get out. We are going to burn if we do not.
Is there no other way out?
Well, you look around the room and you know that apart from the flaming door which leads to the main hallway of the estate, the windows are completely wreathed in flame. There is a door that communicates to the kitchens. You're not sure. It's not on fire at the moment, but your father just obviously ignored it.
I point in the direction of the kitchens and try and drag him in that direction.
Well, that'll be heading deeper into the estate. Surely we should try and get out.
Fine, then I'll do it. This is my fault anyway, and I charge the door.
Your mother says, "What do you mean your fault, Con?" As
I'm
she
charging the door.
Following after you. All right. Mutaru, you in your diminutive halfling form, once a proud yak folk, now a proud halfling, you and Blackson are standing watching Con as he now starts walking across the room towards the wall and appears to be getting ready to run across the room, and he's talking to people that are with you.
So he says the same things he says in his...
Correct.
Oh, it's finally happened. We broke Con.
So as he says this, I still stand over the now dead body of the Yakfolk, just
The warrior, yes.
dropping the dagger that I sliced his tendon with, kind of turning around and kind of trying to get to Con, put my hands, I don't know how far away I am from him at this point, put my hands on his shoulders and trying to kind of get around, look into his face and shake him awake.
All right. As you do that, you reach out towards Con. You're suddenly knocked sideways and land heavily into the snow. It's bitterly cold. And on top of you is this large barbarian warrior. His face is painted with the blue claw marks of a bear. And your convoy that you were with is scattered around you. You can hear screaming and shouting as the barbarians are literally ripping people apart. And he lifts up this massive war axe that's got this bear mouth that's open, revealing, instead of the blades of the axe, it's actually the teeth of the bear. So maybe it's more like a pick than an axe. But he's about to club you with it. What are you doing?
Fall on my back and like, no.
While you recover, Mutaru, you suddenly watch Blackston charge backwards in fear.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
What are you doing?
I am going to... Mutaru is going to think that they're under the effect of some sort of magical effect. So I'm going to begin by maybe looking around the area, like trying to hone my senses, trying to see if I can hear the sound of like incantations maybe, or see if I can see like if there's any paintings, you know, with those like little eye slits or something, you know,
All right.
looking around being like, where are you, you bastard?
Give me an
I'll get
investigate. Give me an investigate roll.
All right. Sure. Ooh, yes. That is a 19.
19. All right. So you are looking around the room as Blackston and Con continue this bizarre movement around, shouting, talking to people that you cannot see. And you're looking and you're looking. And eventually you realize that on the one wall, there is a painting which is a fairly mundane landscape. But it's the only thing that's out of place in this room. And as you approach it, you realize that when you look at the painting, the cattle that are in the fields are slowly walking around, and there's obviously a nice light breeze on those trees because the trees are starting to move.
All right. Well, I'm going to try and touch the painting. Reach out.
You touch the painting.
Right, I take it off the wall.
Good oil canvas. As you touch it from behind you, you hear, "Oh, Mutaru, what are you doing now, lad?"
Oh, I turn around.
Sitting on the table is this halfling dressed in robes which are awfully familiar. You've seen these robes before, but they were worn by another person who looked like a chung. Your suspicions are confirmed when he holds up a bamboo shoot, which he then starts chewing on the tip of... starts chewing on the tip. I thought we talked about this.
Oh, no, it can't be. Master, is that you?
I'm not your master. I'm your god. There's a difference.
Well, I sort of drop the painting and I sort of get, I sort of do the bow. Master, look, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to be careful. All right, Blackston, he's the one who ran across the room, all right? All right, he ran across the room, and he grabbed hold of Khan and he got flung across. I did the careful thing, Master. I had a look and I saw the wibbly wobbly painting. And I went over there and I was trying to, I don't know, figure out maybe what's affecting them, Master? I don't understand.
Well, that's a very good question, isn't it? All right. Well, I thought I'd have to intervene on your behalf. Because I'm not about
thank
to
you,
leave
Master.
you once again.
I'm about to die. Why am I about to die? I'm perfectly fine. I feel healthy. Am I sick, Master?
It's not that you're sick. It's about the fact that you're going to find something behind that. Oh, God, look. He points at where the painting was.
Looks over where the painting was.
It looks like a view down into a larger auditorium of some kind that's quite dark inside, but you can hear the sort of the hushed whisperings of a lot of people. Don't go towards it, Mataru. Don't you dare.
No, I'm conflicted. It's me. I'm like, I feel like no point I've done this god any justice. I've always done the opposite of what he's asked me. All right. Well, what should I do then, Master? But there's people. Sorry, I should whisper. There's people on the other side, and they could be the ones. But they could be the ones that are about to bring this whole place down around the order. I can't let this happen, Master. I just can't.
Oh, I don't think you need to worry about that. Rather, why don't we sit and enjoy the fire? There's good stew on the go, and your companions are clearly off their rockers. There's not much you can do for the mentally insane, you know. Trust me.
Oh, that is true. That is true, Master. Well, some stew does sound pretty nice.
Aye, but why don't you go and get us a bowl for yourself and myself too? I'll see if I can't use my godly powers to find us a wee dram of, something to drink. I'm thinking perhaps maybe... And why the hell did you choose to be a halfling in the first place?
All right, to be honest... Well, I do too, Master, but, you know, if I'm going to be honest, I kind of maybe wanted to know a little bit more about what it was like to have a different physique, if you know what I mean. Like, everything is quite large in the Chung. It's kind of like that port where you put your hands in some water and then, you know, you get all those wrinkles and you pretend you're an old man. I thought I'd do the same thing, except all over, you know. I thought it'd be a little bit more amusing, but it's not. I feel like a tit. I've had fleas on me back that have been bigger than I am.
Aye. Remember that next time. Remember that.
I'll go over and get some stew.
All right. Con, back to you. The door, as you approach it, is quite hot.
I'm going to attempt a wooden door.
Yeah, wooden door, absolutely.
Burning or getting there.
What do you mean it's your fault, says your father, as he walks up behind you?
Well, this is hardly the time. I say frantically and start kicking the door. We need to get out now.
All right, give me a strength check, if you please.
11.
Your foot bashes into the door, and the door actually cracks slightly open as your foot kind of goes through the slightly cheap wood. But as your foot pulls back, flames lick out of the door, and it's obviously there's a fire on the other side. Great big billowing smoke starts to pour out that way. Oh, God, says your mother, and she sort of flees back to the corner of the room.
Kitchens it is then. Quick, come. I'm trying to drag them through the kitchens now if we can't get out that door.
No. So that was the door to the kitchens. I thought that's where you had gone to. So
I see. So there's fire in the kitchen.
Kind of kicking in that door. Yes, there's fire there.
Shit.
I don't think we have any other choice. You and your mother make sure that you get to safety.
No. You keep mother safe. This is my responsibility. Go and attack the front door.
All right, so you go. How are you attacking it? You have all of your gear with you.
Well, again, do I? In that case, I attack it, kicking it and bashing it with my staff, basically.
All right, so you just start smashing into that door. It takes you one or two whacks, but eventually the door collapses inwards. And this wall of heat, if you thought it was hot before, it's hot now, just washes over you. That entire hallway, with all of the old portraits of family members, is aflame. And you can see the oil in the portraits busy burning blue and green as the different oils and chemicals in the paint react to the fire. The staircase leading up to the bedrooms is relatively unburnt yet. The fire hasn't got there, but the front door is just this wall of flame that's busy burning up the tapestries and things up towards the wooden ceiling above you.
So there's no sort of path out.
It doesn't look out of the front door, but you could go up the stairs. That gets you to the second floor where there's windows, or you could go behind the stair. That leads you to the kitchen, of course, and then there's the scullery and the maid's quarters behind that.
No, we can't go through the kitchen. That's on fire. I sort of spin around frantically at the bottom of the stairs for a moment because I'm thinking the only way out is up the stairs, but going upstairs in a burning building is not necessarily the way to go. But perhaps we can get out of a balcony, a window, up the stairs, quick, dragging and pushing and haranguing the parents as we go.
All right. Your mother she's succumbing to the smoke quite badly, but your father's sort of helping her up as she goes up. If it's your fault, do you know who did this?
Yes, I do. I did something very stupid, and this is the result. I'm sorry, it's my fault. We have to get out of here. Keep moving.
I agree. And they start moving up the
I'll explain everything once we get out, I promise.
Simon, back to Blackston in the snow. The barbarian's axe lands heavily where you were moments before, but you've now scurried back. You're in your full gear, and glancing around, you can see that you are 20 miles north of the great city of Milken, and you are in barbarian territory, and they have decided to attack your convoy for whatever reason. It looks like there are about 20 young, bloodthirsty barbarians who've fallen upon the convoy, perhaps looking for an early bloodletting to prove their manliness. You're not sure. What are you doing?
Not yet realizing that I am me and not my younger self. I kind of look around frantically, searching for my father.
All right, he is standing next to the wagon with his great bastard sword drawn in one hand, and he's busy fighting off this large warrior who stands there with two smaller axes in either hand, who sort of hacks at the top and then hacks at the side as your father frantically sort of knocks away each of the attacks.
Help! Ah! Kind of trying to get further away and trying to then kind of stand up and first on all fours and then kind of standing up, getting to him.
You're scrabbling over towards him?
Yeah.
Okay. The barbarian who tried to take your head off tries to... No, he doesn't. He grabs at your cloak and tries to pull you back, but he just sort of gets fur and it sort of slips through his fingers, and he shouts at you, "Come here, you're mine."
Yeah, I'm out of it at this point.
You're just busy crawling frantically forward. All right, everyone, would you please make wisdom saving throws?
Natural 1.
Natural 1.
Happens to be my stronger one.
Yeah.
Ooh, 23.
23, okay. So, Mutaru, you are sitting, the stew is excellent. And you start to hear applause coming from the window that was hidden by the painting. Lots of bravo, uncle, yes, 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 coming from that black space.
Master, are you sure it's all right? Is something wrong over there? I feel it, you know.
Oh, hi, do you know? Do you know?
Aye. It's I shouldn't be sitting here, Master. I shouldn't be enjoying stew. My friends, look at them. They're all about. They are, but I don't know how I feel about that. I'm normally the deranged one. I feel like I really should take a look, Master.
You know that you're fighting against mind-reading oracles, right?
Aye, Master. The oracle. A small part of me at some point or another dreamed that I would one day be one of these people. But it wasn't to be. They are well-bred. Well, yeah, there's that, yeah. But, when you're a young fella, one can dream big. Aye.
Well, all I can say is that if you look into that window, the oracles will have your mind, and then they'll have your soul. So if I was you, I'd be thinking of a way to get out of that by not looking in the window.
I see. Well, I need to get us out of here. That's what I need to do.
I suppose in your diminutive form, you're going to pick up that hulking brute over there, he says, pointing at Blackston, who's now crawling on his hands and knees across the room. Or would you prefer to carry out the sticky one first? And you can see Con is busy. Looks like he's holding someone behind him and is currently trying to climb up onto the table.
Maybe there's something I can do.
Out, are you in your little shape?
No, but maybe I can offer them strength in some other way.
Oh, you're going to sing him a song, are you?
Yeah, well, maybe. At this point, Mutaro will place his hands on his forehead.
Right.
And he'll concentrate his telepathy and try to reach out to Con.
All right. Would you you close your eyes and you try and reach out to Con? As you close your eyes, you're once again in that white space, only this time that gigantic dark figure is not reaching out towards you. It's right next to you. And it turns its head to look at you and says, "You will be my conduit."
Am I still in the halfling body at this point, or am I still mentally?
No, at this point, you're now projecting yourself as Mutaru.
I take a quick look around, so I'm still in the white space with this large creature, but can I see Con or Blackston in this space, like even like kind of an ethereal form or anything?
You can, but they're completely immobile and seem to be covered with black energy.
And the energy looks like it's attached to this creature's the same kind of black rolling smoke kind of look that he's got?
No, it doesn't seem to be attached to this creature at all. It seems to be attached to, well, now that you look at it, another being not too far away.
Okay, I know I'm kind of pressing for time here. Can I see the direction that that goes into, like the direction where that's coming from? Like that's like if it's going like behind a curtain or if it's going into that window that I was. Okay, I'll disconnect as quickly as I can.
That's what you try to do, but it doesn't happen. The creature looks down. You escaped once before. Not again. You are now mine.
At this point, Mutari will sort of turn his head and he'll sort of take a deep breath and he'll say, I am many things. I'm a songster, a fool, an artist and a warrior, but I am not yours.
He flicks you with a finger.
Oh God.
And you just fly through this white space, away from Con and Blackston, just out into this almost white void. And when you land, You take 9 points of damage as you roll to a stop in this white void.
I am very injured.
The creature appears next to you, and you talk too much.
One of my more charming.
Will serve. Con.
Mutara tries to. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, go. No, you're good.
You are going up the stairs when you look at your mother, you look at your father. Their faces, although their voices are appropriate, their voices sound like your mother and your father, their faces seem to be fairly devoid of emotion. They don't seem to be moving very much until you look at them, and then the face then starts to change into a look of terror or a look of horror. But your father, his face, whether you look at him, he's still got this fairly stern countenance on him. It's a little bit of a disconnect for you.
I stop.
What is it, son?
Something's not right. Something feels wrong.
Your mother looks at you. Yes, the house is on fire. We have to get out of here.
You're dead. This has already happened.
Your mother reaches out to you with her hand and touches you just ever so slightly on the side of your temple and says, Connie, I'm not dead. I'm your mother. Now, your mother only ever called you Connie once until it was pointed out that that's a girl's name and not a sign of affection, and so she dropped it. But you always have remembered it with with sort of shame and embarrassment that your mother had called you Connie, because she'd actually done it in front of some of her friends at a luncheon, and it had sort of seared itself into your mind as this name that you did not like. So it was definitely not a sign of affection.
I flinch away from her attempt to stroke my face. No, back away from them a bit. This isn't right. This is I'm start looking around the house, trying to look at the details. Like, I'm suspicious now.
There is a delay as you're looking around. So you look down at the hallway and you can see the paintings on the walls that are on fire, the suits of armor in the corner of the room, the benches and things. But when you look at a painting, it's almost as if the flames obscure the image, and it's a sort of gray muddle. But as you look at the painting, it starts to then take shape as a portrait of Great Aunt Ethel. Or you look over at that painting and it's a bit of a blur, and then it becomes the castle that your great uncle Egbert decided to paint one day and do a horrendous job doing so. So there's almost like a delay in terms of where you look as to details suddenly starting to fill themselves in.
I sit down on the stairs.
What are you doing? The house is on fire. We have to get out of here.
I get it now. I think I get it now. And if I don't get it, then we're all going to burn to death anyway. But I'm pretty sure I've got it now. You're not real. None of this is real. Get out of my head.
All right. Blackston, back to you. What are you doing? You get to your father. He sees you. Blackston, get back to Milken. Tell them that we've been under attack, shouts your father.
I kind of start to stand up at this point, kind of move towards him, and I'm taller.
Yes. He looks up at you.
And I kind of turn around and see this person running after me.
Yes, he's running towards you with his axe. It's as real as possible, although I know you... Yeah.
And I stand there and just think to myself, this is not who I am anymore. And I get ready and I just countercharge this barbarian.
All right, give me initiative. Oh, God.
I'm not out of the spell, but the person is different, right? So 11.
You're acting first. What are you doing?
11. Okay, so do I have my spear as well?
Yes, you reach behind you to your spear, which is there.
I just try to throw it at him.
Excellent, make your attack.
15?
15. It slams into his, naked chest, but it's covered in blue tattoos and bits of snow and that sort of thing. It slams into his chest. How much damage do you?
Halberd is usually not thrown, so do you want me to roll a d4 or just regular damage?
D6.
D6? Okay. With strength bonus would be 7.
With strength. With 7?
Mm-hmm. And then I just charge after him and just try to shoulder check him into the snow.
Oh, all right. So give me an opposed athletics check.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
17.
Yeah. You slam into him, but he holds his ground, and it's sort of you almost bounce off of him because there's these two heavy titans smashing into each other. And he looks at the bloodied halberd next to him in the snow. He looks at you and just bellows his rage, and then tries to backhand you with that bare club mace pick thing.
Absolutely.
Natural 20.
Oh, that's a hit.
Yeah. We are using my crazy system, right? I always ask that question. All right, and a 12, so that's triple damage. Oh, okay. Lucky. 12 damage. I rolled almost the lowest I could possibly roll. So yes, he slams into you, dealing actual visceral damage. You can start to smell now the blood that you remembered so vividly, that coppery smell. But it almost feels like there's more here than you recall. But of course, it was a very chaotic and terrifying time. Mutaru, what are you doing? The figure is standing right next to you. Well, it's actually leaning down and looking at you.
Mutaru rises to his feet. He sort of grimaces a bit as he's, obviously been flung, as far as he can tell, an imperceptible distance before collapsing on the ground through this void of endless white. Just in case anyone hadn't,
right,
caught up to the madness. And reaching into his pouch, he pulls out the bamboo shoot of roan, and he says, I spent so much time in my life trying to be something I'm not, even changing the way I sound so I am more appealing to the people of Braxia. But for the first time in a long time, you have taken me away from the one thing I needed, the one thing constantly I'm worried about every single day of my life. There is no audience here. There is no one to see exactly what lies in the heart of Mutaru. And raising my hand and channeling all of the eldritch energy I can into the scepter of roan that I got. Now you will see exactly what lies within the blackened heart of the man called the Jade Dragon. And I fire my agonizing blast at full strength towards the large shadowy creature.
All right, do your damage.
Do I roll to hit?
It's so big, there's no way you can miss.
Oh, yay! Okay, so that is 4 plus... Do. 1d10. That is 14 damage of the force variety.
All right. Your blast fires directly into the creature, and you watch as it ripples out over the beast. And for a moment, it almost looks as there's a rift that opens up, because the beast goes from being this black, shadowy form to suddenly having these silver scales, and it looks like it's flesh and blood, but on the other side of this black projection of sorts. And then it laughs. Insignificant magic. I do not care whether you are some child hiding from its parent or not. You will bring my return to Braxia, and there's nothing you can do about it. At that moment, he then lifts up this paw, and you can see this purple energy arcing between all of the nails, the claws, sort of collecting in the center, and this purple blast just shoots down directly at you. And as it's about to impact, the halfling Rowan suddenly appears in front of you, opening out his hands, creating this green shield, which the blast starts to slam into. And Rowan buckles, dropping to one knee. "Oh, you do like to pick your fights, don't you, you silly little cow," he says as he's holding up his shield. Simon and Michael, you can both make wisdom saving throws, if you please. Yeah.
Oh. After you. 7. Natural 20.
All right. Jono, what? You are sitting on the steps, refusing to move.
I cast resistance on myself.
All right, you cast resistance on yourself.
And then I conversationally tell my parents to sit down, and I go, might as well tell you, I ripped off a crime lord, and his revenge was to burn the house down. You died. I've been carrying with it ever since. So that's how I know this isn't real. But it does feel rather good to tell you, even though I know it's not you.
Nice.
Your mother sits down next to you. I don't understand. Are you not sad that we have burned alive?
Mother, that was a long time, many years ago, and I am sadder than words can adequately express over all of it, every bit. My sordid, pitiful part in it all. But that doesn't change the fact that you are not here right now.
The house starts to collapse in with timbers on fire. One of the timbers hits your father across the shoulder, and he lands next to you with the flames starting to burn on him.
I sort of grab both my parents and pull them into a hug around me. And just sit there.
The room
Don't worry, it'll be over soon.
The room suddenly changes back into the room that you were originally in, the lunch dining room where the oracles were all collectively meeting. You can see Mutaru is standing. He looks like he's cowering in the one corner. Blackston is busy swinging his halberd is embedded in the wall opposite, and he's busy reaching for his trusty longsword. But standing in the middle of all of this is a very large-looking woman, very black, tentacle-like hair. It's just very oily and very matted, with these large, bulbous lips. And she looks at you. "You are impressive in your cold-heartedness. I did not anticipate that, but perhaps I chose the wrong location. Too familiar with you, yes. Too familiar. You will just have to die like the rest. Unfortunate, but still, can't be helped now."
Oh, you got me all right. You just didn't make me sad. You made me angry. I cast Thunderburst. Thunderwave.
Thunderwave, okay. At her, it's gonna strike pretty much everyone in the room. You realize that? All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you, Blackston.
All right, I just stand there next to him, grab my sword, as you say,
Right.
grab one of the daggers that I still have with me from the person the room earlier.
Yes.
And I just like, my feelings don't control me anymore.
My feelings don't control me anymore. Screaming, I love it. All right, make your attack.
Absolutely. So that's a 20 to hit.
That's a hit.
And with a dagger, 22 to hit.
That's a hit.
So since I don't have the dagger, I'm just going to roll it manually. It's 4 points with a dagger and 7 with the sword.
You slash at it. Well, how do you hit him? Because you hit him with both.
All right. So he is bare-chested, quite literally bare-chested.
Bare-chested, yes.
All right. So as he kind of looks at the halberd, throwing it into the snow, I give my speech and just jab both of them into his abdomen. And then just like with a dagger, just stab and stab and stab again.
Well, okay, well, you start to really sort of chunkify his one chest. Your longsword didn't go directly, and it went slightly to the side, dealing. So he's still standing, but you are just slamming into him with all of this rage or frustration that you have. Absolutely. He, under this tyranny of blows, the best he can try and do is to grab you, and would you please make an acrobatics or an athletics check to avoid him throwing you aside?
13.
No, so he sort of grabs you. He's dropped his axe. He's had to sort of almost ward off all of your blows. He grabs you and just throws you down onto the onto the snow, and steps towards you, pulling out this long curved bone dagger. And he says, "Now, little boy, I will show you." As he's about to attack you. That was his action, was to throw you down and to pull out all of his weaponry. Back to you, Mutaru. Rowan is sort of buckling onto this weight, and he says, "Quickly, open up your minds to me, lad. Together we'll defeat this creature."
Without even remotely hesitating, Mutaru stretches his hands forward and puts everything in his will towards connecting to Rowan.
All right. Interesting. Give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
No, I got tricked. All right. Let's see. 14.
14. All right. So as you reach out towards Rowan, he is busy firing this green blast, and suddenly, as you reach out to him, he says, "Ah, perfect!" And he pushes that shield upwards, and it slams into the black figure, causing it to shatter like a mirror and fall into nothingness. And suddenly, you're back in the room, seeing Blackston busy destroying this wooden chair with his longsword. Con is
taking your fucking chair. Timber time.
Con is standing there looking quite aggressive as he lets out this sudden wave of thunder, and a voice in your head says, "All right, now we've got some work to do. Con, release your thunder wave." Does everybody get a dexterity saving throw to avoid damage?
It is Constitution.
Constitution. So, gentlemen, Mutaru and Simon, wouldn't you please?
21.
Constitution. All right, you're fine.
I think half
19.
You're fine.
5.
5 damage.
Yeah.
So we take 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Essentially.
You both
That could have been better with my bonus action.
It's not a thunder, it's like a...
In my bonus action, I slam my staff into the ground. It glows green with energy, and I advance upon the bedraggled crone.
All right. Well, as it hits the crone, you see her peeling back like sand until there's nothing left as your wave washes out. But Mutaru and Con, would you both please give me perception checks? And Simon, you can give me another wisdom check, please, because there's this thunder that rolls out across the snowfields.
12.
Shouldn't really be there, all right?
That's right,
16.
Perception.
Perception, yes. 16. Okay, Mutaru.
14.
Con, you still have rage burning in your veins. You don't hear it. Mutaru, you hear Con release this thunder wave, but you've been there before. You've heard him do it. And although it pushed tables and chairs and things aside and knocked the stew into the fire, it sounded like there was a much bigger boom to that initial thunder wave. But that second boom didn't seem as if it was here. It felt like the ground actually shook as the thunder wave went off. What are you two doing?
Is there a window? Oh no, we're underground,
I go
aren't we?
straight for Simon.
You also notice, Mutaru, that there is no painting on the wall and there's no window beyond.
Sorry, let me get this right. Con, did you hear that?
1 second. Now, just to get this straight, Simon is still...
He's destroying a chair with a dagger and a longsword.
I try and maneuver myself around so I can lay a hand on him and cast resistance on him as well. So he gets 1d4 added to his next saving throw.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to give me an acrobatics.
Come back to us, Blackston. Come back to us. What check, sorry?
An acrobatics check, if you please.
Not getting stepped from me check.
Yes, just sort of maneuver your way around and just touch him.
Yes, I'm particularly skilled at acrobatics.
He says with confidence.
Oh, that's not too bad. 17.
17, all right, no. Blackston pulls his hand back to swing his longsword, and you just touch him on the arm and imbue him with this power. Mutaru, what are you doing?
I asked Con, Con, did you hear that?
Hear what?
There was a louder, that explosion from your thunder. It was louder than before. You don't think?
I didn't hear anything. I'm a little bit distracted. Find a way out of here.
I'll begin looking for a way
That
out.
would be the door. So remember there was a door where you came in on, and then there's a door on the other side of the room. Yeah? So you go towards that door. All right, not a problem.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it probably isn't good.
Back to you, Simon.
Yeah, I want to murder this mirage.
Right. Well, you can. He has thrown you to the ground, but you still have both of your weapons. So.
So I'll just try to use my dagger to nail his foot into the ground.
Yes.
And then just jump at his
at his
torso,
knees, torso,
knee,
okay.
or whatever, right? As quickly as I can come up with like the snow, I guess. Like, it's a little bit harder, right? And just like push him into the ground, and then let's see if this works.
All right, make your dagger attack.
Crit.
Oh, nice.
So it's 3, so that's normal damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 7 points still. And then I kind of shoulder check him and trying to attack him with a longsword, technically.
All right, make your longsword attack.
For 14.
That hits. He screams out in pain as your dagger buries his foot to.
And as I push him on his back, I just try to stab with my longsword up into his
right.
Well, I don't know, like
chin. Yeah,
under his chin, but I don't know how well I hit.
Yeah, 14. It's a hit. It's a hit.
No, okay. Sorry, with the damage. I mean, I don't know if I just raise him or whatever.
What was the damage?
Wait, 14. No, sorry, 12. 14 was a hit.
No, you bury the blade under his chin, and there's that double resistance as it slams through the palate, and then again through the occipital orbits, and then out the top of the skull.
Then I say, "You don't control me anymore." Shut up.
All right. Then you are convinced that you hear this voice saying, "Blackston, come back to us." But you're not sure from where. But you do get a wisdom saving throw, and you get an additional 1d4. Is that right, Con?
Yeah. Shouldn't have put it away. Actually, I can just press this button because I'm prepared. 18 with the d4 extra. Right. Which is, by the way, I rolled an 11, and the d4 was a 4, so thank you.
Nice. So as you stab up through his skull and you pull the blade out, you look up and you suddenly realize that this is not the scene that happened in your youth, because charging from the west now, there are at least 20 more warriors coming in. And you remember specifically that when that first wave of warriors attacked and hit the convoy, yes, there was lots of bloodshed, but there was only one wave. There was never a second wave attacking. And these ones look bigger. They look to be about 8 foot tall, far more intimidating than before. So that's what you're seeing, right? Then there is this terrific bang, which sweeps across the space, and the trees all sort of wave in this wind and drop their snow down around you, but that's the only effect. That's literally the only effect. Back to Con and Mutaru. You now hear a definite explosion, but it's very, very muffled. It sounds quite far away.
Oh, shit. Do you think this is because of us?
I don't think we have time to worry about that. We need to keep going as quickly as we can.
Are you hurt?
I'll be fine. I'm going to use my bonus action to use my second wind ability.
All right. The chair, however, is not going to live. It is definitely dead.
A crying timber.
Oh. All right. So, Con, Mataru, what are you doing?
Well, I guess...
Out the door again.
Well, Blackston's still indisposed.
Yes.
So now I'm sort of help me restrain him. Get the weapons out of his hands.
Good luck.
And meanwhile, I'm sort of like, Blackston, wake up! We need you, Blackston.
All right.
Simon, I've been waiting for this for so long.
It's just that you're a halfling, right?
Yeah, but I've still got the same strength as when I was a cow.
You restrain his knees.
I'm going to basically attempt to, because he's hacking up the table, right?
Chair. Yes.
So I imagine that when he's swinging, he's sort of swinging with his arc down. So what I want to do is I want to get up behind him as he's in a downward swinging motion.
Right.
Jump onto the base of his spine and put my weight onto the back of his shoulders, hefting forward and lifting his swinging arm backwards so that he hopefully falls forward under my weight, being top heavy.
Right. Con, what are you doing whilst the ninja gnome, the flying halfling does his thing?
Just trying to break through Blackston's trance at this and stop him from stabbing at either of us with his dagger in his left hand. So I've got my hands around his wrists, trying to control his dagger hand.
All right. So, Mutaru, would you make your athletics check, please?
That is a 22 on my athletics check.
Right. Simon, as you are busy pulling yourself up from this corpse that's in front of you, suddenly you feel this weight on your back and you fall forward again, and you keep hearing. What are you saying, Con? What are you saying to Simon?
Blackston, snap out of it. It's not real. Come back. Come back. Blackston, we need you.
That's what you're hearing. And what do you do about that?
So first of all, I kind of go down on one knee from the
pressure.
Exactly. Kind of turn around and say, "Father, flee! I got this!" And then I hear this, and like, what's?
It's Con. Can you hear me?
Pull myself up with the sword on the ground.
Right. Right.
I just search for Con. Just like,
it's Con and Mitaru.
Where?
We need you. Come back, Blackston.
All right. Well, as you start to look around, the whole scene just dissolves and you're suddenly back in the room. You have this very hefty halfling holding your sword arm back, riding your back like a deranged bull rider, and Con holding onto your dagger arm, busy shouting at you, "Come back, come back, come back."
As soon as I see the light come on in his eyes, I let go of him and I'm like, That's it. There he is. There he is. Thank the gods.
All right. There's another.
Rhoda Paladin.
Reverberates.
I think our enemies have accelerated their more destructive plan.
Then there's no time to wait. And I kind of turn around immediately to the door we didn't came from.
Right.
And just rush towards it.
Okay.
I follow.
Wait, it's locked. No. Okay.
It's pulled, not push.
You wrench open the door, and there's a very narrow corridor. And immediately opposite you, there is another door, again, freshly made. These are old ruins with new doors. And then leading down the corridor, there are two more doors further down, and then a flight of steps right at the distance. And then there's another explosion, and sand drifts down from the ceiling of the far end of the corridor.
Oh, this is not good. And we've had to leave Vardis behind.
Yeah, Deacon Vardis, as well as the various other oracles that you have...
We're left tied to beds.
Left tied to beds, yes.
In compromising...
Blindfolded.
Look, I mean, do we really want to go back for Vada?
No, there's no time. We got to go see what the hell's going on.
Well, I mean, explosions have already happened. I mean, it's not like it's going to happen less if we go grab him.
People may need our help.
All right. Damn it, you said the magic words. All right. I'm using my little legs as fast as they will go.
Which are you going down the corridor? Or are you going through one of the three doors? There's the door immediately opposite you, and then there's two
straight
more.
Ahead.
I think
we're going to.
Yeah, straight ahead.
We're going to have some frank discussions with the dwarven leadership over all the things that have been happening under their noses.
And while I'll charge, I utter a prayer. I say, Brex, grant me clarity. Brex, grant me strength. Brex, grant me true.
All right. Well, that's a good prayer. Roll a percentile.
Sure.
You never know.
I guess.
Oh, I should start talking to my god.
5%.
5. Very close. Very, very close. All right. That's perfect. You're a paladin, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So...
Last I checked.
Where is the helmet of Brax? Are you wearing that? No, you keep that in the back.
I'm not. Yeah.
All right, and that's fine. So you burst through this door directly in front of you, and it's a fairly large chamber that is now revealed, but there's a set of stairs that run down into this. It's a circular chamber, and it looks as if it's almost like an amphitheater of some kind. But
is it a mirror of what is above then? Roughly?
Kind of, but on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
And the roof is a dome. And originally that would have had some kind of light well, which would lead down into this chamber. But that was obviously sealed over long, long, long ago. At the center of this chamber is a figure that, Con, you recognize. It's this large, very fat woman with black hair, which almost looks as if it's moving like serpents or tentacles on its own. And she is sitting, her eyes are closed, and her hands are stretched out. But sitting around her in a triangle are 3 other women. One is a Sageti woman, one is a tiefling, and then the third one is a human. And their eyes are also closed. But as you run in, all 3 of you hear a voice coming from the opposite side of the room, which comes from this very large bodied person in the form of Captain Keogh. Captain Keogh is one of the Order captains. The only reason why you know him is because there's a portrait of him that hangs up in the academy, because Captain Keogh is rumored to have taken on a fleet of 3 pirate ships with his single ship in naval combat. It's not an aerial combat, in naval combat, and he defeated them. So there was a portrait of him. So he's a very, very skilled tactician. And he's striding across the circular room with his hand up saying, "What are you doing in here? You're not welcome here."
So, Gravla, who I assume is the woman in the middle, would we know how she looks?
No. The oracles, I mean, they're fairly secretive on board ship anyway. If you think about Demestra, they didn't...
I think about her every day.
Right, yes. Poor Demestra. Yes.
Relatively speaking, from where we've traveled underground,
right.
What would be directly above the domed area?
Give me a survival check, please.
So then, meanwhile, this captain is the only other person aside from the 4 that are in the middle of us, right?
Yes, except there is someone that's running down the corridor from the
behind
far
us.
End. Yes, they're busy shouting, "We're under attack!"
So this is roughly how it looks. Yes.
Yep, perfect. Absolutely.
15 on my survival.
You're not entirely sure. You do know that you walked for a long time from the amphitheater, which was on the edge of the city. So you probably are either underneath the forest area of those cannibal centaurs, or you're somewhere near the ruins at the edge of the cliff face overlooking the bay. So you just got turned around. You know that the whole structure is on a wedge of land. You're either at the bottom south of it or you're the top north of it, but you're definitely no longer underneath the city. That much is certain.
Okay.
So what I would do, I would ignore this captain, and I at this point assume that our cover is blown, at least with the ones that I really care about, and I see basically 4 of them casting in front of me. So even without knowing, I think it's very reasonable that I want to interrupt whatever they are doing. So I'll just charge at them, and I'll try to basically, if they are like a triangle,
right?
I'll just try to charge the closest one to me. I don't want to kill them. I want to knock them out as quickly as I can. So just like really, and interrupt them.
All right. Mutaru, what are you doing?
Seeing Blackstone charge, I'm going to lay down cover fire. So if someone looks as though they're going to disrupt his charge or otherwise lash out at him,
all right.
I'm going to give them a Eldritch Blast upside the head.
All right. Con, what are you doing?
I point my staff at the captain and I say, "You are under arrest and can't hold person on him."
Oh, nice. Okay, so lots of actions of very thoughtful people. Can I have initiatives, please, from everybody?
15.
9.
Mutaru?
17.
17. Okay, well, you guys, this dice is so difficult. I mean, it's so in your favor. No, all 3 of you you're all acting so far in advance. The enemy doesn't even know that you've walked into the room. No,
they still look like.
Yeah,
that's how we operate.
That's it. All right, so you go sailing forward.
Shock and awe. I believe
Mutaru, you are acting first, so you are Eldritch blasting. Who are you Eldritch?
So does it look like Blackstone will make it without anyone being able to react?
It's a bit tricky to say. It'll be close because Keogh is walking forward, but you can hear Con is busy muttering the words that he has muttered before, sometimes to effect, sometimes not to effect.
Well, yeah, same thing then. I will ready. Can I ready? Oh, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Simon was pointing to his ear.
No. I meant the guy behind us, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. No. I was going to, if someone attacks Blackston or looks as though they're going to try and disrupt his charge, I'm going to blast them. That's
all right. So you're going to wait and see who's going to do what. All right, not a problem. Okay, Blackston, you slam into the first woman, or you. So you're just trying to knock her, you're trying to knock her out. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
I'm not here to kill people except one person.
Kill the Chung.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I have something against Chung, something personal. Yeah, so I'll try to knock her over, knock her out.
Okay. Give me a standard attack.
Sure. 19.
That's a hit. Do your damage. Maximum damage 12. Okay.
Second time with the sword there.
All right. Wow. Okay. Well, you smack her across the back of her head, and she rolls to the side, screaming out in pain. This is the human female.
And I give her one more fist in the face.
Sure.
Yeah. Crit again.
Shock and awe.
Yeah. But that's just the dagger, so 11.
To hit?
No, is that no. Is that 3 times?
11 is 3 times damage, yes.
So you just multiply the dice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's 14.
You smack her across the back of the head, and she obviously comes away from whatever she was doing, and as she looks up, you just slam that hilt of the dagger into the bridge of her nose, and there's that satisfying thunk of a broken nose, and she collapses completely passed out. Yes.
So I don't know how big this room is, but if I can, if I have, so okay, so then I guess I don't know how much rest movement I have still. Probably not much.
You probably got another 10 foot, give or take.
Can I get to the fat woman in the middle?
Well, you can start moving towards her. Yes. Correct. All right, that's where you're going. Okay, Con, you are commanding him to hold. This is Keogh, all right. His saves I happen to have here, and it's a wisdom save, right? That's 2.
Correct.
All right, and the target is 14?
Correct.
6 plus 2 means that he goes, ah!
How satisfying. I then stride forward with the remainder of my turn's movement.
Right.
To get in a position to thwack the woman in the center of the triangle with my staff.
Okay. All right.
Since I recognize her with my
Mutaru?
animal companion in tow.
Apparently.
Broken into the room again. She's quite good at that.
She is quite good at that. All right, Mutaru, what are you doing? Because now it doesn't look like anyone is going to threaten Blackston.
Okay, so the oracles still seem entranced, or the other two remaining ones?
3 of them. The one in the middle and then the 2 on the sides, yes.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to charge for the one in the middle using my Naginata.
All right.
And try to wallop her.
Make an attack.
All right. I have no idea where my dice went. It vanished. It literally vanished. I have a dice board, and it fell in the board, and it's just gone.
All right, next dice.
It's a mimic.
Yeah, that's it. Next dice. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, it's a mimic. It turned into something else. All right. So that is 16 plus 6, 22.
16 plus 6 is 22. Okay. As you swing for her, her eyes open, and she says, Oh, no, I don't think you want to be hitting me. And you swing down and stop just before you get to touching her. And she says, I'm part of you now, Mutaru, and you're part of me. So let's change this dance, shall we?
I'm fighting against it.
Yeah.
I imagine
Just
I can't.
You can't get to her, no. But when you sort of play, it's free to move.
I'll sort of curse and chung very loudly in a halfling accent.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
From the doorway, you hear a voice shouting, "Get away from her! You've ruined everything!" This coming from the person who was running down the corridor. And this is going to go for Con, I think, rather than for anybody else. Yes, Con, would you please make a dexterity saving throw as she points her hands at you and just unleashes this torrent of electrical blue energy at you.
Oh, goody. Reflex, dexterity.
Yep.
Oh, that's a 10.
That's a 10. Okay. The bolt slams into the side of you because you were holding Captain Keogh in place. The bolt slams into the side for
Concentration check.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a constitution, is it? Or?
Mm-hmm. DC is 10. Or if you take more than 20 damage, then... well.
17.
No, that's fine. All right. You take 23 damage as this lightning bolt just slams into you.
That, I imagine, actually, given how many hit points I have max, that would knock me off my feet, and it's all I can do to hold on to my hold person spell.
Right.
As I sort of clatter to the ground, crying out in agony. Smoke coming off me.
She curses that you're still not dead. Keogh is still... sorry. And...
Continuity!
Yeah. And she's doing that and succeeds. And she is doing that and succeeds. And she is now engaged with you. All right, back to top of the round. And that brings us to Blackston.
All right, so I scream out, Gravler! Does she react on this?
The one who was looking at Mutaru as he was not hitting her. Oh, that's a question. Yep, she fails. Her eyes slide over to you for a moment, and then you can see that look in her face of, shh. Very smart.
I say, what did you do to the Vestra?
She would rather destroy herself than join us. I do not miss her.
Your soul is forfeit. You will burn in the purgatory forever. I will use my vow of enmity against her.
Yes, you are.
And I will too try to attack her.
All right, make your attack.
So since I have used my vow of enmity,
Yes.
I now get advantage.
Yes.
So I don't know if you allow me to change weapons now to my halberd, because I really want to kill her. I really want to kill her.
No, because you've already moved over to her. So yes, absolutely, you can change over to your halberd.
Great. So then I roll 24 with the
Right.
bearded side, and then a crit because of the advantage with
Right.
the blunt end.
Nice.
So that's a 5. I don't know if it's double damage or single damage.
Single.
All right. So that's 7 points with the beard, and 8. Yeah, it's just something. So it's 8 points with the blunt end. And I will also use 2 smites against her,
Right.
which are an additional... See, she's not fiend or undead, right? Just check.
No, she's neither.
All right, then she takes an additional 24 points of radiant damage. Yeah, if the crit would have really done damage, then it would have been fun, but...
Mutaru, it suddenly feels like your muscles are once again under your own control. Because there was a certain stiffness that came over the moment she started to talk to you as if she was Roan, and now that's gone mysteriously. Instead, there's this very large woman with a very large gash across her upper shoulder and across her forehead. And yes, well, that's where we are there. That brings us to Con.
Pick myself up off the ground and turn my attention to whoever's coming up the passageway behind us.
It's a young woman. She, with her hands held out towards you as she was trying to incinerate you with lightning. You can see on her one hand she has the symbol of the Order of the Anchors, and she shouts, "She is a great woman, and she will bring about a new age. Get back!" And she's starting to weave another magic about herself. This one, you can give me an Arcana check if you want to know what it is.
Arcana. 14.
It's magic missile.
Oh, crap. I cast fog cloud around her.
Fog cloud?
Nice.
As you release out this gas, she looks around in panic, and you see she goes,
and then I run at her. But it's her turn, isn't it? Oh, no, it's my turn.
It's still your
turn. Then I run at her.
All right, into the fog cloud, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this fog cloud is obscuring.
Hopefully know where she is.
She's down a passageway, and she wasn't moving. And she was holding her breath because she thought it was Death Cloud Kill or some, noxious, violent magic. Mutaru.
Distractify.
Yes. Mutaru, what are you doing? The large woman is leaning back. Blood is spraying out of her.
Mutaru, taking forth the Naginata, adopts his stance as he turns and he sort of has this cheeky halfling smile that sort of creeps across his cheek as he says, "Song of the Fat Lady," and uses booming blade.
"You're too late," she says, laughing at you, and she looks over at the other two women that are sitting passively doing something.
Ah, damn it. Damn you, guy. Damn you.
That's what she says.
Don't pretend. Don't pretend. You know exactly what you did. I'm already indecisive. All right, here we go. 1d3. 1 and 2, I'm going to hit the ladies on the side. 3, I'm going to hit the fat one. All right, I'm going to hit the lady, one of the meditating. Yeah, I'm going to hit one of the meditating ladies on the side. Making my attack. That is a 17 to hit.
That hits the young woman. The tiefling?
All right.
Or the Sajet? Yep. Yeah, the tiefling, right?
Let's go with the tiefling. I like that. Yeah. All right, so that's 1d10 plus strength, which is 6 plus 4 is 10. So 10 points of damage.
Right.
Through with the Naginata.
Right.
And she has a sheath of booming energy that sort of engulfs her.
Ha! Natural 1. So as you slam into this, her eyes snap open, and she screams out aloud, much like Blackston's had started to do before he had bashed her into unconsciousness. She screams out aloud, and you can see blood starting to trickle from her nose, from whatever it is that you have brought her from.
I think I have a sneaking suspicion.
Graveler to go, "No!" She shouts that out. All right, that's their initiatives done, so now it's my turn. Does Kiara get a saving throw every round?
Well, given that I cast Fog Cloud, which also requires concentration, I think that actually releases him, doesn't it?
All right,
unfortunately.
Absolutely. He suddenly comes alive, and he launches himself at Blackston, because Blackston is standing over this bleeding, bloodied Graveler. And he, as he's striding over, he basically pushes on his hands, and these two blue magical blades appear. Give me an Arcana check quickly, Blackston.
Yeah, I'm absolutely trained in the Arcana arts. 8. I know what's happening.
Yes.
He's Wolverine.
He's, well, maybe. And he attacks you and hits an armor class of 9 and hits an armor class of 9 again. So he slashes at you, but you're so focused on Graveler, you're basically knocking his attacks aside as if they didn't mean anything.
Yeah, I don't understand this magic, so he can't hurt me.
Yes. Oh, that's how it works. Oh, silly me. All right. Well, from within the fog cloud, as you're striding forward, Con, you hear this... oh. Kiara, we're under attack. The Archon is firing on the ruins. Someone must have tipped him off. You've got to get everybody out of here, is what she's shouting. And then she steps past you, Con, sort of walking through the fog, completely unaware. So you have an attack. You have an attack of opportunity.
Splendid. I shall try and hit her with my shillelagh staff.
Right.
For future reference, whenever I say that my staff glows green, I have cast shillelagh on it. I don't want to have to say shillelagh every single time.
Yeah, because who wants to say shillelagh? Right?
Shillelagh.
It sounds so badass.
Like
I cast shillelagh.
Isn't that like an early 90s pop song?
Oh,
Right.
You beauty. What am I rolling?
B20s?
That is 24.
It's a hit, do dodge.
Which is 9.
Wow. All right. 9 damage. Okay. You
Take that!
smack-
Fuck! You're under arrest too!
What?
Staff meeting.
Oh, stop. I'll do extra damage to you for that. All right, back to top of the round. And Blackston, that's you. Graveler is... You can see that your hit really knocked her for a loop.
Good.
There's a focus that's coming back to her eyes as she glares back at you through this blood-stained face.
I say to her, if you want any chance of redemption, tell me, where is she? And I just try to stab her again.
Where is she? I'm going to cut your head off, but tell me anyway. All right, make your attack.
23 and
That's
14.
23 is a hit. The 14, as you slash at her, you realize she obviously has some kind of magical protection on her.
13 points.
13 points.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Right. So you slam into her for 13 points of damage. It's sort of your weapon buries deep into her shoulder, and she cries out in pain and then looks back at you.
Where is she? And I kind of go over to the next.
She is dead. We tried to bring her to our side, but she opened her coffin into broad daylight so she wouldn't be tempted to join us. How sad. Killing me will mean nothing. The Raxrakari will rule. Con? Con?
I'm still pressing the attack. This woman's dangerous. I need to subdue her.
Yes.
She shoots lightning from her hands. I have to trust my compatriots are all right whilst I press the attack.
Right.
15.
15 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
It hits.
I'm not trying especially hard to kill her.
Right.
I'm
Moderately hard to kill her.
I'm just hitting her with the staff. So 6.
6 points of damage. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Bah, ow! Stop that, she says.
You're under arrest. Submit him once.
All right. Victoria?
There's
one.
Are the
Yeah?
yeah, is the other one that's sort of in a trance. Is she resisting at all?
No, she's literally still sitting there as if you haven't even moved into the room.
Is there a, like, coup de grace kind of thing? Is there, or just thwack?
I mean, if she counts as paralyzed, it's an automatic crit.
Right. No, she's not that far gone. She is aware.
Okay.
Of that.
If it's sleeping, you would get advantage.
Yeah, she's just chosen to remain on her task.
All right. In which case, allow me to hopefully break that task and smack her with my Naginata.
All right, make your attack.
Yeah, natural 20.
Oh, there we go.
Ah! And that is a 16 on the dice.
All
Is
right,
that
4 times
triple?
damage?
Oh, 4. Okay. Yeah. So that's 1d10.
Pretty sure it's enough.
It's 4.
Yeah.
8 times 4, whatever that is. It's
you
32.
decapitate her quite cleanly.
Ah!
Yeah, that breaks her concentration. Yeah, so she loses that concentration. Blood sprays everywhere. Keogh shouts at you. Well, he just shouts at you. Ah! And then Blacksmith doubles his attacks upon yourself. First attack, armor class. Second attack, armor class of 21. That's a hit. And that is for 8 damage.
Okay, take it.
All right, as he slices you with that blue magical blade that he's holding. And Con, now that you have struck her, she almost looms out of the fog. Oh, not looms out of the fog, but you sort of smacked her and she turned around and steps forward. And she goes, "Oh, you make me so mad." And she flares off this magical burst of energy at you as she takes a sort of a step back and flares off the magic at you.
It's over, surrender, and you may live through this.
It takes 5 points of damage as the 2 magic orbs slam into you. It's not over.
It is over. Can't you hear it? You said it yourself. The Archon is firing on the camp. We are here. Your magic, your whatever working you are trying has been broken. It's over.
Gravler said that she would convert them all if we just bought her enough time. We've bought her
lost
time.
All the time.
Give me a persuasion check. You have advantage.
Advantage. Ooh, you beauty. What was that? Persuasion? So that's 19.
What happens if I surrender, she says.
Well, you'll be treated fairly, and you won't be murdered. That's about as much as I can. It's about as much as I can guarantee you at this stage, but it's better than the alternative. And you can surely hear what's happening to your compatriots.
You could tell them that I helped you.
Come along. I take her gently by the elbow and lead her towards the chamber proper.
Yes. You can see that where you clubbed her has formed this black bruise, and she's obviously taken a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Gravler is unable to operate. She's just taking too much damage and continues to fail her checks. So she is starting to drag herself now away from you, Blackston. It looks like she's dragging herself towards the steps that lead upwards around the edge of the room. And as she's moving very, very slowly, sort of pulling herself with just blood everywhere, she looks back at you and she says, "Don't you realize we've all been lied to?"
First of all, my reaction to what she said before is, "No!" And then she kind of ducks under the swing
Right.
Kind of falls to one knee and kind of starts to crawl away.
Yes.
I said, like, you lied to everybody. Yes, I know.
No. The Orders lied to us. There's more. They haven't told us, have they? The gnomes know. The gnomes know.
It doesn't matter.
Back to you.
You don't matter.
Back to you.
Yeah, so I assume she disengaged and tried to crawl away, right?
5 foot, yeah.
Yeah. So if she just crawled 5 foot away, she is just in perfect distance to hit her with my blade then.
Make your attack.
You lied to us. It doesn't matter.
The gnomes know. The gnomes.
It doesn't matter if we don't know the whole picture of it. You will never bring them back. Attack her again.
Make your attack.
Still with advantage because of...
Yes.
That's a 21 and an 18.
That's a hit.
That's a total of 19 points.
How do you finish her off?
All right, so as she like, you don't know, I just like, I know enough. It's like...
You impale that blade deeper into her chest between
her sternum. Yeah.
Yes. And as she looks down at the blade with blood sort of spurting out the corner of her mouth, she says, "They never left." As she dies. Keogh shouts, "No! Graveler!" Blackston, you've done Mutaru and Con.
I shout. Yeah, well, I brought her into the chamber probably just in time to see all this happen.
Right.
Don't trouble yourself. Graveler is learning the power of consequences. And then I shout at Keogh, "It's over! Surrender, and maybe you'll be allowed to keep what's left of your life."
Interesting. Mutaru, what are you doing?
I'll move between the last remaining hostile individual and our good friend Con.
All right.
And I will use basically my biggest, boldest, and scariest halfling stare down to try and enhance the persuasion of Con.
All right, give me a persuasion check, Con.
Ooh, 17.
All right. Well, with the addition that Michael gave you, and that should give you an advantage, but it's just easier to do it this way. You shout at him. He looks over at Graveler as Blackston. I'm assuming you pull your helmet out of her large corpse. He looks over at the lady, and he says, "Margath, I love you." And then he just launches himself at Blackston with both
Stupid
legs
fool!
whirring.
I quickly take a look at her to make sure she's not about to do anything.
Her face is just tearing up, and you get the distinct impression that obviously these two were lovers, and he hasn't succumbed to your demand for surrender. So she may not go that way either. Love is pretty strong.
I'd carefully step back a bit so that I can smartly smack her on the back of the head if I need to.
All right, back to top of the round. Blackston, what are you doing? Keogh is flashing at you. No!
So as he comes, I'll just let the weapon fall on the ground, and I'll just try to grab his arms and restrain him this way. Hopefully.
All right. Athletics, please.
Yes.
No.
21.
You catch his arms, and you realize that act breaks his will. Because as you catch his arms, he opens up his hands, and those blades immediately retract, and he drops to his knees in tears. Absolute tears, shouting, "They're never going to believe us. They're never going to believe us. It's over. It's over." Con, what are you doing?
I approach. If I would imagine she goes to him.
She's rushing over.
Yeah,
to
I let her.
towards Kiara.
And I follow behind and sort of say, as sort of calmly as I can, we need to make a full account of everything. Be helpful, and you will have a future of some thoughts, perhaps.
Never gonna believe what, Kiel? What?
All right, so Con, you know that the penalty that they have, because they were obviously consorting to bring down the historic, the penalty is death. There is no mitigating circumstance whatsoever. It's just a quick and painless death, supposedly. You're saying that to Kiara. Mutaru, what are you doing as this scene starts to coalesce?
Mutaru goes over to, because basically there's one unconscious oracle still there.
Yes.
Two, right?
Well, there was your one. No, there's two. There's two unconscious ones. Correct.
Oh, there's two?
Yeah, because you did the first one.
Didn't I? No.
Mm-mm.
No, that's right. So so she's just screaming in a bubble at the moment.
No, she screamed with blood on her nose, and then she fell back.
Okay.
She's not moving yet.
Okay, I'm going to drag the two of them and just start restraining them.
All right. You're sort of making them fast, binding them with rope. All right, perfect. Yep. Kiara looks back at you, and he says, as he hugs Margath, Graveler's methods may not have been necessarily the right approach to saving the orders, but they have been lying to us about the whole thing. I know that you won't believe me. I am a sympathizer of dragons, I suppose you might say. But just know I never intended for the dragons to return. As a matter of fact, my intentions was to ensure that they actually stayed where they are.
With that, I would use the dagger that I still have and put it right in his throat.
Right? He doesn't move as you execute him. That's what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The young lady with him, she cries out and she looks at you, Con, as Kiara sort of leans back. He's very stoic in his taking of this. He literally, you can see his fists clenching as he tries to keep himself kneeling and in a semi-dignified manner as blood just sort of pours out the front of his throat. And the woman is in absolute tears. She falls upon him once he eventually collapses over. And then she looks up at you, Blackston. Mm-hmm. And, well, she says, give me the dagger.
Oh, let it stick there.
Oh, did you leave it stick there? Oh, well, in that case, then she realizes where it is, and she grabs it, and she pulls it. She looks at it for a moment. She looks at you, Con. Looks at Mutaru.
I nod.
I think the oracles didn't have a choice. And she stabs it just below the sternum and looks at the three of you and then collapses over Kiara, unmoving.
What a waste.
There is another explosion, and then the shouting of men. Dust starts to fall down around you.
Perhaps we should get out of here before we get buried alive, eh?
I go over to the one oracle that I knocked out.
Right.
And I head back the way we came.
They're bound. Are you picking her up?
Yeah.
Oh, I did tie them both together.
Oh, together? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I would try to pick both up. I don't know if I'm fairly strong, but
yeah, I don't that's too much of an issue.
And I'll head back the way we came.
All right, not a problem. Wait, so you're going back the route you came?
Yeah, okay. we left some other prisoners back there, right? So.
All right, that's what you're doing. Con, are you doing the same thing?
Yeah, Khan's depressed because this wasn't really... He wanted to take them back and have their stories recorded before all of that happened, but it kind of was inevitable.
So what I would ask Mutaro to do is if he can bring both the dead guys along.
You made this mess. You clean it up.
Someone should probably go find what happened to
Look at this. If you've got a bucket, I'll carry him. No, I'll do it. It's all right.
Find someone to retrieve the prisoners as well.
All right. Well, Blackston is heading back into the area where the prisoners are. So as you step back out into that corridor, you can see that it's filled not with dust anymore, but now it seems to be filled with grey smoke from fire. Those explosions have stopped.
Good. That's good.
All right.
So yeah, as realizing it's fire, let's see if we can do something as quickly as I can with the two girls in my hands.
All right. So is your objective to go back to the various people that you bound to the beds that are still unconscious and to then ferry them back out to the stadium? Is that your intent?
And which way is closer? I assume so, yeah. You said like the way.
Well, the other way you don't know, and it's full of black smoke now. All right. So with all three of you doing that, you manage to excavate literally everybody that you had down there, which was three young women, I believe.
Yeah, 3 women, plus the 2 we have with us, plus the
deacon.
Yeah,
and one particularly large oracle involved in all that as well.
So are you trying to move Graveler? Because Graveler is...
No, we left this. There was a snoring one, apparently, was very big as well.
Yes, that's right. Yes, she was...
we may need some rope.
Yes, some effort. Yes, Mutaro.
Oh, Mutaro will, as we're sort of gathering up to leave, Mutaro will take a moment to sort of walk over to the corpse of Graveler and just sort of examine her, because obviously she had the sort of tendrily hair and stuff like that. So just taking a cursory look, he sort of looks at whatever could have corrupted this person. You know, this isn't a illusion. This isn't something in the mind. With the dark figure that I'd seen multiple times now and everything's that they've said, because I assume we heard her final death throes.
Right, yeah.
Mutaro reaches into his bag and holds out the handle of a blade, and he sort of starts talking to it, and he says, there's so much bloodshed. I can honestly say without you here, I never thought I'd lose a taste for violence. But vengeance does things to people. Hopefully that now that Blackston has avenged Amestra and, well, we have now avenged your untimely demise, Graham, we'll be able to put at least some of these bodies to rest properly. And I'll sort of...
Give me an investigate check.
The body's going to come alive, turn into a dragon. I'm going to die, aren't I? That's always what happens when I'm alone. I've given up hope, guy. That's what you've done to me. That is a 13.
13, all right. You notice that she's wearing the same white robes that were issued to all of the oracles in this chamber, but there appears to be a silver chain around her neck leading down into the bloody bosom area. It's obviously, there's something obviously on the end of the chain, or it's not just a loose chain, but because of the folds of skin, it's secreted about her.
I'll remove the necklace carefully and respectfully.
All right. As you do so, the end of it has got... There's obviously a pendant of some kind, but it's inside a pouch. A fairly mundane leather pouch.
Stop touching things.
Never! It won't happen. I will open the pouch very carefully.
All right.
To reveal where the... where the pendant's end is.
All right. As you open the pouch, you realize the pendant it looks to be this wonderfully intricate metalwork of a three-sided shape. It's a four-sided die actually, but it's got three sides, which in the metalwork, in the intricate metalwork, are the symbols of the Order of Histori, the Order of the Anchors, and the Order of the Oct Relicar. And the top triangle, which is where the hoop of the amulet is attached to the chain, obviously. So that's how that forms in place there. It's not very big. It probably is a pendant about that big, as a matter of fact. So it's just sort of hanging there.
I'll take it and put it back in the pouch and pocket it.
All right. As you sort of putting it back into the pouch, you hear, "I'll see you again," as you put it into the pouch.
God!
All right. So the three of you emerge with the various bodies and things onto the platform that was being built in the center of the stadium. And the city, there are trumpets being blasted all over the city, very, very warning bell-like trumpets that are sounding out to warn people where to go. Standing in the center of the stage is this... there's three people, their hands held high, all emblazoned with the Order of Histori glowing brilliantly upon them. And there are three other bodies. One has been cut in half, one has been blown open, and the third one appears to have just lost all of its water. And they have obviously been in a melee with this group of people standing in the middle. The moment you emerge from the trapdoor with the first body and throw it down on the deck, the one, let's go with that. The one figure turns to look directly at you and says, "In the name of the Order of Histori, I order you to stop."
So who's the first person from us?
Con.
I look at my palm. Is it glowing?
No, because you don't have an oracle to activate it.
Oh, that's true. I don't. You're too late.
How do I light this thing?
wait, I got it.
Greetings, brothers. We have 6 for the cells. And I plunk whichever body I'm carrying at their feet. And then sit down rather wearily. Oh my God. What a night.
The other one, who is a halfling, steps forward. What's your
Captain
name?
O'Dana. Pleased to meet you.
All three of them on the word O'Dana suddenly look slightly differently. Then
You don't look like an O'Dana right now.
the
Oh shit, yeah.
the elf steps forward. It is unlikely that you are Captain O'Dana. Where are the other two captains of your vessel?
I glance over my shoulder.
And then this halfling steps forward.
Yeah.
Captain Braxton, Captain Mataru.
Oi.
We're somewhat not as we normally appear. We were undercover.
Will you voluntarily relinquish your weapons? We are dealing with mind-controlling enemies. It is possible that you are pretending to be whom you say you are.
I completely understand. You shouldn't have too much trouble with the mind-controlling aspect of things, I say as I start laying down my staff and my daggers. We've just come from the mind control HQ, as it were, and we've left a bit of a mess.
The halfling looks at the elf, and the elf looks over at the Sajet, and the Sajet says, "The control might be something that someone under the control of a mind control."
I just look at him and I say, the control over the oracle should be broken by now. We killed Graveler. I struck her down myself.
That's okay. You work it out. We'll wait.
The elf then looks over
I
at the
start taking my boots off and emptying the sand out of them.
That would account for why our symbols are once again active. I believe the oracles were inactive because of the threat that was posed by Graveler. If that has been removed, as you indicate, that would explain why we are suddenly within power of our oracle.
How lucky for you.
Then I think you are. There you are. The halfling steps forward. Of course they are who they say they are. They've got a halfling.
Of course we are.
Who would
exactly.
I'd say he's actually not a
There's
halfling.
no way you wouldn't trap a halfling.
Wait, what? You're not a halfling?
Well, I've learned in a very short amount of time exactly how proud and brave halflings are. And I've got to say,
That's young.
you know, even though I may have been born with a large hoof and horn, in my heart beats the true spirit of the people of the halfling variety.
You'll have to excuse him. He hit his head a couple of times.
Oh.
I didn't hit shite. People kept hitting me in the bloody head. Did you know? I've never had more respect for a halfling fighting a chung. I kid you not. Do you have any idea how low loincloths get in the land of chung? It is a dangerous pastime.
And
Bring an umbrella.
With that sound, you are escorted back to the Archon's ship. As you're making your way through the city, you can see the dwarves are all on high alert, and the Histari have to hold their glowing hands up to get through the doors to go down to the harbour, because the dwarves initially don't want to let you go. But once they do, you look over and you can see the ruins that were on the tip of the hill have basically been decimated. Ooh. Absolutely blasted to hell. But climbing out of the remains of an entrance, that entrance that you were forbidden from going into, you can see several captains, and it's obvious their hands are all glowing now, busy leading out some women, some various other members of the order are being led out, and everybody is gathered around there, busy either manacling or roping these individuals as they're brought out of the tunnels. The elf, his name is Gwentin, informs you that he has been instructed to take you directly to the Archon should you be found.
Oh, good. I'm rather tired of this appearance. I'd like to look my old self again.
However, it seems illogical to try and carry all of the bodies with you, so it would probably make sense for him to leave his two companions here.
I will take the deacon with us.
Yeah, we'll take Varda.
Ah, all right. Well,
you're coming with us, son.
Wait, slightly before that, do you guys happen to have any manacles that suppress magical powers by any chance? I mean, better be safe than sorry what. We got him tied up with rope and all that.
Unfortunately, those have all been restricted for use on oracles only.
Ah, I see. All right.
It's all right. If he twitches, just hit him again, Mataru.
Will do.
If he twitches, I kill him.
Yes.
This is how Mutaru is like walking now.
Just twitch. Did he twitch? I think he twitched. He twitched again. All right. The journey down to the harbour is a very different harbour from the one that you had seen before. One of the ships of the Order is on fire and is slowly sinking into the bay. The rest seem fine. The Archon's ship, you can see, has been moved out into the middle of the bay, and you can see several large ballista pointed straight up at the ruins. That was obviously the explosions that you heard discharging as the ballista was slamming into the rock face. On the dock side itself, there are all those barrels that you spotted before, Mutaru, all wet, sodden, with their little divots still in place where they were attached to the ship. It takes a few moments for the Archon's ship to dispatch a longboat out to you, but within a few minutes you are on deck and being escorted by the Archon's assistant back to his private chamber, where you find...
If my comrades are okay with it, I would give him the deacon. to deal with him because I trust him much more than anybody else right now.
By assistant, you mean the mage who...
Correct.
Transmogrified us.
Yes.
Yes.
That. He waves his hand, and you are back in your original forms.
This is decidedly strange wearing a different skin.
I have noticed that myself, yes. He says as he looks at...
Oh, I miss the smell.
Me too. The Mutaru musk.
Well, the good news... I'll let the Archon talk to you about that, he says. You can go on through. He's expecting you.
Oh, crazy point of thought. Oh, mighty spellcaster. Any chance we could turn him into a chicken? You know.
The Archon has some specific...
I already left.
requirements for the deacons. I'm sure he'll make them clear to you when you see him.
Excellent.
You walk into the Archon's room, and the first thing he does is stride over to you and shakes your hands if you're willing to do so.
Yeah.
I cannot thank you enough. You have alerted us to a suspicion that I have held, but you had sufficient evidence, and your actions allowed us to see through the ruse. Once you'd left for your part of the mission, we had reports that you had disappeared at the stage. I took the liberty of making sure to follow where you went, or at least rather my assistant did. We assumed that you had infiltrated the nest that you had spoken of. But once we started to remove the barrels, we set watch. And lo and behold, if Olak, Vincidi, and Bromholden from the Gravlach Lingley didn't come down later on in the evening to check on those barrels. So once we apprehended them, they started to reveal some information, which led us to start firing upon the Oracle's position. We had hoped to provide you with an access. We were fairly certain it wouldn't bring the roof down on your heads. And I see that you seem to have been successful.
Gravla is dead.
Yes, I was informed by my oracle moments ago that she detected that the web had come down from the entire area. I should also inform you.
She said the dragons are here.
The dragons are here? Well, that's preposterous. We all know the story. They were banished.
I killed Captain... What is it? Koroch? I don't know how you...
Kioch?
Kioch. I killed Captain Kioch myself as well. And he said the same thing.
Well, cultists all usually sing the same song, don't they?
Indeed. Usually there's a kernel of truth, isn't there?
Permission to speak, sir?
Oh, yes, of course.
Something I've not really divulged to my comrades too greatly. I, as obviously a member of the Hastari, have many skills, and one of which is the ability to stretch my mind out and touch others in particular ways. I have recently done so with a few members that we met within the nest, and there was something that troubled me, something I know I should bring to the attention of the orders. A dark figure seemed to follow me and in my thoughts wherever I went. It was power beyond anything I had ever felt before. I struck at it, trying to release myself from its grasp, and I managed to get a glimpse of what appeared to be scales within the darkness, shining scales that glimmered like sunlight. It was hard to deny that when I heard Gravlak's final words, that the dragons may possibly be here, to be completely false. If they're not here, then I urge you, Archon, to take a very serious account that their force, their presence, their power still holds a strong and tangible presence one that can be felt by one such as the oracles and myself.
Well, of course, we'll take a very good look at all of that. That would be incredibly troubling if it were true, but I find it hard to believe that there would be any dragons left here in Braxia that had gone undetected. It has been 300 years since their banishment, and the orders have been operating almost as long. So for a dragon to remain hidden under those circumstances, I think is unlikely. I do know that the oracles had made contact with the dragon dimension, and perhaps that's what you were seeing, a vestige of that. That is why Graveler was such a problem. When you start dealing with the dragons, there's no telling what will happen. I'm informed that there was an attempt to take over the minds of the oracles. My own oracle has come to me again in the last few moments since you dispatched Graveler, and informed me that she was under attack, a concerted effort for occupation of her mind by entities unknown. But the attack ended fairly abruptly. This was about 2 hours ago. That's why we stopped the bombardment of the hill, as a matter of fact, because the assault had ceased. I will, of course, assign members to investigate fully the implications of Graveler, but I think, from what the oracles tell me, there is no longer a guiding influence of Graveler to be felt upon their esoteric network, or whatever it is that you would like to call it.
Under the current circumstance, I would think it might be in order to rethink the entire operation with the oracles.
He looks around almost as if checking for prying ears. Between these walls and the four of us, I would not be adverse to removing the oracles entirely. But on the other hand, it is they who provide us with our communication, they who provide us with our authentication to conduct our missions and to ensure that imposters don't suddenly start running around representing the order. The power that we have is significant, and it must be controlled in a way. I am sure that the councils will convene after this matter and look at all of the evidence as provided, and as much as we can get to the bottom of this. There are many questions that remain not necessarily unanswered, but that remain hanging, such as why the gnomes decided to hand over the maps to the deacons, for example. That has never been authorized before in the past. So that might speak of a breach there within the gnomish...
Now, we have one more detail. Graveler said that the gnomes know whatever she was referring to. So if you want to investigate anything...
You can all give me an insight check, please.
14.
21.
Hey, 23.
You pick up that his next few words are spoken very carefully and are not what they appear to be. Well, I'm sure I wouldn't know what that means. I have no idea what the gnomes might or might not know. So I think she was just trying to play with your minds. That's what oracles do. Distort reality.
Yes, someone who dies has a lot to live for, right?
Something like that, I'm sure. Now, you three have performed a remarkable service in keeping the sanctity of the orders safe and in preserving all of Braxia. And for that, there will obviously be a ceremony. It will be hosted at some point in the near future, and it would very much please me if you were to attend that ceremony, so that all might see the wondrous work that the orders do in keeping Braxia safe. I hope that won't be a problem.
public relations.
Yes, absolutely. It's important that we keep those that pay for everything in order.
It would be a great honor, sir.
That's what I like to hear. This incident has been very unsettling, I am absolutely certain, and the loss of your own oracle, I cannot possibly begin to imagine what I would do without mine. She is a constant companion and source of support and insight that I find, well, I'm not sure what I would be able to do without. I will request that you have a replacement sent to you immediately, as well as that we acknowledge Demestra's contribution to this battle, and that we ensure that
she killed herself to warn us.
Well, I suppose that speaks even more highly of her dedication to the Order and reinforces that we should all remain committed to the Orders, regardless of what aspersions might have been cast by lowly...
Yes, let's be committed to the truth and the continuation of it.
Exactly. We will continue. If you want to have words with your deacon, I'm sure that I would be happy to report that he was lost in this battle.
For myself, I think I'm going to go find a flagon of good wine. We will need to get back to our ship at some point. I will be happy if I never see Varda again.
I still have an appointment with the clergy.
Very well. Varda will be dealt with as all of these rebel upstarts will be dealt with, of course. I will make sure that there is a ship that will take you to... Where is your ship? I didn't notice it in harbour.
It is currently in dry dock over in Beyond Ku. We suffered some heavy damage after the incident surrounding the Gam Spire and several attacks on the way in, and we felt it best to approach with some subtlety, given that our position was being given away by the very ship we sailed.
I will assign you to the Cloud Dancer. I'm sure that the captains there would quite happily see you back to Beyond Ku, to your vessel. On your way out, I assume the repairs will need to be paid for.
Indeed.
Very well. I will make certain small...
actually, sorry, real quick. Didn't the Great say he'd pay for our repairs? And they already paid for?
Yeah, he did.
I tell the Archon, that is quite all right, sir. An honourable benefactor who would prefer to remain nameless actually supported us both by fronting us enough to keep it dry docked and fixed up. And
actually, he did not want to remain nameless. In fact, he very much wanted us to pass a message, didn't he? I've forgotten all about it.
Oh, yeah! Yes. No, the message was that he wanted us to investigate. Oh, he wanted the Order to investigate some strange goings-on within the Graith Empire, in fact.
Within the Order chapter there. I don't know if this was perhaps related to the problem we've just resolved or not, but... Do you still have the box, Con? Not on me.
Ah, well, I think we left that with the ship, but within it held... No? Where was it?
We got it after we left the ship. It would be in our quarters, in the thing.
Oh, well...
That's true. Yeah, I don't have it on me now.
Oh, well, we can bring it back later, but it was fundamentally... and I sort of, again, look around for prying ears. The severed hand of what appeared to maybe be a cross between a Graith and a reptilian creature of some variety, fused by some horrendous amalgam of magic and sorcery or something else.
Guy, if it's not clear, but I am very intently looking at him and wanting to pick up if he's lying or shielding the truth or doing anything misleading.
Right. No, he genuinely. After you moved away from the gnomish conversation, he seemed to relax his guard a bit. He's still a little bit on edge, but now that there's mention of Wraith and reptilians and that sort of thing, yes, we could dispatch the Ethro Rendir. That's a ship that has had some experience in Wraith territory. They know the growth better than anybody else. I understand, of course, you discovered this lead, but I was going to offer you the opportunity to just take it easy for the next month or so until the...
That sounds like a great idea.
I've had enough adventure for the time being. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, then we'll make arrangements for the object to be collected and for you to be returned to the Windswift. Now, if there's nothing more, I need to conduct a mass trial.
I don't envy you, my lord. Good luck.
Just apparently the oracles all were under influence. Make sure to not execute some of us.
The oracles will judge themselves. They have a separate system for determining these things, from what I understand. But yes, I will pass your message along. I can't say I understand the whole thing myself. Anyway, again, gentlemen, I thank you for your contributions to the order. It is impressive that you have done so much to uncover this disgusting ploy to take over the order from within. It is good to know that you are out there.
It is our honor, sir. And
it's our duty.
I have sworn to be vigilant to all betrayers and untruths.
And if ever the order requires, they know that they have the strength and the loyalty of the captains of the Windswift.
Yes, and I'm sure you're eager to get back there. He rings a small bell and his assistant comes in. He tells him to give you several thousand gold.
So just before we leave, I would just ask him, like, if I gave him, before we left the first time, I gave him a few things, right? Like, I gave him the amulet.
Yes.
I gave him both amulets, actually,
yes.
And stuff like just catching up, like, if there's anything he wants us to do with the drow captain that belongings we found, I gave him. Like,
either yourself or I can have them returned to the Republic.
I think that might be an interesting vacation.
Oh, very well, then. I will make it a sanctioned endeavor. It always makes dealing with the Republic that much easier. Well, if one could call it easy to begin with.
I was thinking a beach with sun, but, you know, I guess we can go to the Drow Republic.
All right.
I worry about...
doesn't shine.
I was going to say, I worry about Blackness sometimes. Like, let's go on vacation. Where do you guys want to go? The Underdark.
Right. And we will bring it to a close at that point there. Yes. Slightly longer episode than normal. But there we go. The end of the Windswift. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this long narrative. And if you don't stay for the review thereafter, next week we're taking a little bit of a break as we reorganize and get our lives sorted out. So we will be back and on. Watch the channel for updates there. In any case, thank you for being on this very long journey with us as we resolve the case of the Rax Drakari. Now, for those of you that do stay for the review, Dice of Destiny will tell us who we review and where. And that's number 4. So, Simon, we start with you. Think of this episode.
Everything came to a blow, right?
Yes.
And more questions being raised than answered, I fear. Well, but that is really how you keep a game going. So, I mean,
sure, it's my duty, right?
Who is to judge on that front? Yeah. So for Blackstone, there's a few things that actually changes might have changing impact on his character in this session, actually. First thing being like the reminder of what happened to him before, and that he swore basically to not be this person anymore. A frightful child.
Right.
I think that was great. I think that was very fun to role play, to method act almost. Although I didn't have like a big brawny guy standing over me.
Right.
So that was pretty fun, and obviously this is a reminder to where he came from and where he is at this point. And then obviously the revelation at the end on when we finally caught up with Graveler's machinations. It was very satisfying for him, although also very painful, as it seems right now, at least, that the Mestra is gone for good, which he didn't hope that it would be up until this point. Being a vampire, you usually maybe have like 9 lives.
Right.
I don't know.
Yes.
So in that regard, it was very painful, but very worrying, especially knowing that the Archon lied to him, very skillful, but still lied to him in the end, which is something that would be something Nexon would bring up with the other two as soon as they were out of earshot.
Absolutely.
Going forwards.
Absolutely. Yes, I think it's very interesting. Everybody embraced the journey into a space, right, where they were being challenged from a memory or from a space or from a place where there was strong emotion. Which is really what the Oracle was going for. What I really liked was that none of you immediately tried to ignore the illusion. You all embraced it absolutely as if this had become real.
I mean, there's a reason to do saves, and if you fail, you should play to the saves and not just ignore it and say that, well, I still figure it out because my meta knowledge, right? Like,
right. Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I absolutely enjoyed that. I really, really loved it. What I also tried to do, though, was to not make it... okay, you pass the save, the illusion ends, but to give you the role playing space to see that it's actually an illusion, that it's not real. So I thought that worked out quite well. Michael, what did you think? You had some interesting twists and turns. Oh
my god!
Realized. Anyway, yeah.
I feel like I can't go through a single game without nearly dying. I feel like that's just, I don't know what it is, what's happening. I'm not making these people in the audience. I'm not making these decisions on purpose. I think like, hey, that seems like an interesting idea. Maybe I could do this. And maybe one time I'll get away with using telepathy without dying. And just always, I didn't die. But again, like the whole thing with Rowan showing up and stuff like that. I'm like, damn it, I'm always failing. I'm trying so hard. I'm being clever. It's like, yes, okay, they're all going berserk. Let's do the smart thing. Let's investigate. Oh, what's that? Giant applauding people and Death Dragon. Okay, fine. Yep, I'll do it. No, it was really great. I mean, for me, it was just had an awesome energy, especially for the finale. It just had so many pieces to it. We obviously had the bit where we got to like really divulge into the role play and even like take glimpses into people's backstories. It's really interesting because obviously, from my perspective, we didn't really go too much into Mutaru's backstory, but we did get a tiny glimpse that Mutaru isn't necessarily the way he always has been. Right. And one of the big things is obviously how Mutaru sounds compared to, say, all the other Chung. And I love the fact that I actually got a chance to sort of embrace that, because for Mutaru, as he is a performer and he is always on, as it were. So he's always big and he's bold and he speaks like you would imagine a Braxian theater person to speak. But then he's actually got something inside which he just doesn't want to show anyone, and that's giving him that private space was exactly what needed to happen to really sort of tap into that. So I was really glad that happened. Combat was absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that there was just so many different dynamics. There was not only the large, heavy-set woman who was casting her spells and making things, kind of difficult. There was obviously the encroaching warrior and spellcaster from the back. Meanwhile, this ritual of triune, just sort of 3 people kind of conjuring stuff. everyone kind of had a role to play. Con was taking over the support guys, and Blackston was focusing on the B-bag, and I was sort of disrupting the ritual. And every single one of us, it was no like, well, somebody took the main role, as you would in some combats. Everyone had an equally important part to bringing down the whole thing. So I think it was just an awesome game, awesome session, hit all the bars for me. So yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. And it's a lucky thing that you guys decided not to focus just on Graveler, because what I was doing was every round that you weren't attacking the three, they were taking over the minds of captains who were in prisons. And every now and again I was rolling dice to see who was winning, the good guys or the bad guys. And you can't really see it on camera, really, but there's lists of names here as they swap sides to see where the balance was sitting. And once you started to take out the oracles, then that started to shift back as people started to get their minds back and started to get their memories back and that sort of thing. And poor old Graveler, she failed every concentration check that she had, because Blackston was just beating the snot out of her every single round.
I with the Oath of Enmity, I did change 2 natural ones into hits. So
yes, well, absolutely. Lovely.
Having advantage is quite an advantage. It turns out.
and my poor old Margath, my female sorceress, she had one lightning bolt, one lightning bolt, and you just you took the whole thing in your chest. But after that, she was down to alter self and fly. She really didn't have combat spells prepared. Except for her magic missiles, of course, which she did have. But she took a beating.
I felt so bad for those two. I kind of secretly wanted them both to live. I did. I was like,
right.
As soon. Okay, so here's why I killed them. Before I played Blackston very much as he doesn't want to kill anybody. Right. I absolutely cold murderized.
Yes.
I would have murderized both of them because I gave them the benefit of the doubt. As long as Graveler was still alive. As she went down and he still kind of was not like, oh, what happened? It was clear that they were in cahoots and therefore they were dying.
Right. In fact, what he said before you executed him kind of was like, I was disappointed, but I wasn't going to stop you because it was clear he was voluntarily siding with forces of dragons. And, mind control is one thing, but volunteering can't help you, mate.
No, I don't know. See, for me, it was like he was in despair. You know what I mean? Like in those kind of states of heightened sadness and emotion. Like
on his knees.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like executing a sad man is still a sad thing, and I'd never do it. I'd never do it. I mean, he had no weapons. He had no weapons. He was on his knees crying. That's not how I'd want to kill someone. Just saying, put it out there. Mutaru likes some kicking and screaming. That's just how it goes.
Before he hangs,
fighting for their lives.
Con, what did you think of the whole experience? What did you think of the family drama?
I thought that was good. I mean, because I knew that we were facing off oracles, telepaths. At some point, it had to come into play.
Right.
And so, I like that using your own dark past against you is good, solid stuff in that regard. And I liked how we ran it. Again, like you say, I agree. Just devolving things down to dice rolls takes all the story and flavor and life out of the game. So it was fun to be able to think about how I was going to play out the realization that this was and also maybe use it a bit as even though Con knew it when he came to the point that he realized it was an illusion, he almost used it a little to get a bit of catharsis.
Right.
That is something I found really, really great, by the way. I was like, yes, turn it on her. That's so great. That's something that I really enjoyed.
So I enjoyed that. I thought that was good. And the ballot, again, just as Michael says, I think we all got a chance to really max it. And we did it, and we didn't get it in each other's way. We kind of identified what needed to be done, what our skill set was to do that, and just did it, and it all flowed really nicely. So even though we had an idea that this was probably going to be the last session for this adventure, it wasn't guaranteed. So we weren't like rushing through it and we're going to do it this way, this way, and this way.
Right.
It's pretty natural, I think, how
Absolutely.
it all flowed into the conclusion. Con leaves the whole thing with a slightly bitter taste in his mouth because he's realizing he doesn't really like execution.
Right.
As a concept.
There's a better way. There's a better way.
It just doesn't sit well with him.
Right.
You know, he understands that people sometimes have to die, and if you are going to kill someone, then you must do it, which is why he respects Blackston, because Blackston just did it. But, you know, he's come away feeling like, you know, there's a bigger mystery been hinted at. You know, you're not sure all the bad people have had their adequate comeuppance, and I'm pretty sure a few good people have had undeserved death. So it's not a complete win. But mission accomplished.
Right. Absolutely.
And thank you, Guy. It was a really fun adventure.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely really a lot of fun. And I had to, I debated long and hard when I was sort of figuring out this final battle. Did I want you to have to fight through the various ship captains and things? And I've statted out a few more of them just in case you went a different way and that sort of thing. And I thought, you know, the Archon is not going to just sit back whilst you are busy moving through. He's got evidence enough to basically lay waste to everything. Someone was going to blow up those barrels. Those barrels were sitting at the Order of the Anchors. You know, so there was lots of sort of evidence. Once you guys disappeared down that tunnel, I thought, well, they would have carried on investigating, waiting for your response, not getting a response. Obviously, detect magic and that sort of stuff would have flared up everywhere. And then I thought, you know what, the focus is on getting to Graveler, not on layer after layer after layer of combat. So she had her protectors, Keogh and Margaret, and that was it. And I thought it played out. Quite well. So anyway, thanks very much.
Did you? Did you stat out the goblin?
The goblin? No, I didn't actually.
Damn, that's the only one I would have been like, oh man,
he hadn't turned yet.
I loved him. He was awesome. Probably my favorite of the captains.
Comsoglin? Yeah, Comsoglin. He hadn't been turned yet. His oracle had been, and she was going to start turning them, but yes, he hadn't yet turned. So anyway, all right, thanks very much, everybody. Thank you all for staying with us for this review, and until next time, I think from all of us, I can say goodbye.